Welcome to our SCAP day. We're returning the SCAP. SCAP is Seahorse Creative Arts and Publications. And in 2026, we want to bring back our online creative writing. Scotland is awash with wonderful creative writers, and we think you should get a chance to hear them. So welcome, and I'm going to introduce my co-host, who's a good friend and colleague, a writer. She's involved with all sorts of artwork, photography at the moment, having a wonderful time. Glad to have her with us here. Please welcome Donna Campbell.
Hello, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here, and we've got a great lineup today as well. SCAP, Seahorse Creative Arts and Publications, and check them out on scapscotland.com. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome James Roberts as our first poet today. And James is a poet and visual artist, originally from Bradford, West Yorkshire, and has been active on Glasgow poetry circuit since 2019 when he moved here. He contributed his poem Solomon in Blue to SCAP's Out of the Blue anthology, you have to get it, and has appeared in 2024 25 City of Poets annual review, and Speculative Books published his first collection, Fragments, in 2023. You have to get that as well. His work has covered migration, rebellion, grief, and the struggle of repeatedly losing one's door key. James Roberts, take it away.
So this first poem, Cleansing the Horizon, looks back to the Grenfell Tower atrocity, which is nearly 10 years ago now. It's kind of hard to believe that. I think the poem speaks for itself, so I'm not going to say too much more. Cleansing the Horizon. It's July 2009, and flames are ripping 12 stories high, scarring the Campbell sky. Lacanal House is burning. By the morning, 6 lives will have been stolen. No public inquiry will be conducted. It's July 2011, and plum-tongued ministers are tossing themselves off in glee, firing the pistol on their red tape challenge, dancing around their bonfire of regulation. It's early 2014, and a planning application is being prepared for cladding on Grenfell Tower. Changes to the existing tower will improve its appearance, especially when viewed from the surrounding area. It's July 2014, and bean counters are counting beans, ready to cleanse the horizon of Royal Kensington and Chelsea. They will save £300,000 by using ACM cladding. It's November 2014, and flames are tearing high again, 21 floors up on the Lacrosse Tower in Melbourne. With hideous speed, in hideous premonition, they're ravaging, fueled by ACM cladding. It's May 2016, and a plum-tongued council leader of Royal Kensington and Chelsea is tossing himself off with glee as the horizon cleansing is complete. It is remarkable to see firsthand how the cladding has lifted the external appearance of the tower. It's Wednesday, June 14th. 2017, just before 1 a.m. 6 years into the red tape challenge, 3 years since the decision to cleanse the horizon, 3 years since bean counters counted their beans, 2.5 years since the Melbourne fire, and 11 months since a plum-tongued council leader tossed himself off with glee. The fridge is fused blue on the 4th floor of Grenfell Tower. Again, flames ripped high. Again, flames scarred the sky. By the afternoon, 72 residents lay dead. 203 households were left with no home. It is 2026. Not Oliver Letwin nor Eric Pickles, igniters of the regulation bonfire, not their boss, David James Cameron, nor Nicholas Paget Brown, council leader of Royal Kensington and Chelsea, not Jean Murter, nor Timothy D. Myers, nor Saint-Gobain, CEOs of Kingspan, Arconic, and Celotex, cladding profiteers, have faced justice. Remember that. And this second one I'm going to read is called It Rises Through the Blocks. So I moved to Glasgow in 2019. I took a flat. I was lucky to get a flat with the housing association at the time in High Flats on Wynford, and in doing that, like, learned more about the history of like repeated evictions and demolitions in Glasgow, and how that's a massive part of the city's history. And then having lived in the flats 3 years, well, 2.5 years, was then out of the blue told that my home was going to be demolished. And so this poem is kind of it's about an imagined future where demolitions don't keep happening, where we rebuild flats, we retrofit them, but we don't keep splitting communities and scattering them. It rises through the blocks. Homes collapsed in stacks of billowing dust as a mark of progress, as a shining new dawn are a thing of the past. It wasn't easy, mind, nor quick. Stresses and fallouts and makeups, and lots of people left. The digging in the heels, the singing and the shouting, the demanding staying put. The last sad skeletal remains of 100 homes, sky-high headstone of a scattered community, stands in memory. We fought the developers back into their box with their dirty tricks, just in time for all but one to remain and be restored, just in time for all but one to become homes again and leave the ruin lonely and leave it to remind us. We haven't seen a demolition crew around here for years now. Our blocks haven't been fenced off at the drop of a hat for us to be informed of plans later. They needed telling, though. It was tooth and nail. It was knock, knock, knock. Wherever a new plan appeared, we lived right up to what the money men feared. Many people, many people, women, children then, grannies, aunties, uncles, workers, claimants, students, the born around the corner, down the road, across the sea. No gaudy billboards with their pastel-coloured impressionist promises, or people being moved like draft pieces every 10 years. I remember the day we all filled the streets around the council chambers, and our lot went in proud and spoke for everyone, staying put the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth. No more sick deals cut behind closed doors to replace shite cladding that might kill us with shite cladding that might kill us. See, we know our stuff. We know what we need and can smell a rotten plan from a mile off. We work in construction, in planning and admin. We work in call centres, in shops or as carers. We work in warehouses or making deliveries, and we're sharp as nails and keen as blades. We're on the money men's case whenever their plans are made. We're building on things. Salvage, not destruction. For a future, not nostalgia. And the warmth is kept in. It rises through the blocks.
James, thank you very much for that. It's like your poetry is always like very, very powerful, political. I love that cleansing the horizon, that idea that you can cleanse a horizon, and like cladding as cosmetics just to make things look nice. And not for the safety or just all those backhanders that go on behind closed doors. And I like the chronological order of like the people that have died in fires like Melbourne and Grenfell Tower. And again, I love the officious way, the matter of fact, and that kind of different voice that you use to plum-tongued, like that's just plum-tongued. I've not heard that for a long time. And that the bean counters, like you're saying about people, it's like drafts, and they're making the moves, and that kind of reminded me of the Greek gods a little bit, where they're putting all, you know, they're moving things about, moving people about. Absolutely powerful stuff, James. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers, Donna.
So next we have Ross Wilcock. And Ross was very modest in his bio that he sent. Very, very modest. He's very active on the poetry scene. So Ross Wilcock is a poet and writer from Glasgow. He is a recent graduate from the University of Glasgow and runs 2 poetry open mics, which are Curler's Cozy Corner, and that's on the 3rd Monday of every month, and that's up on Byers Roads. Yeah. And then Alchemy, and it's the last Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
So you have to get yourself up there. And Ross, it's an open mic, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That you do. So,
yeah.
So you've got to get yourself along to these open mics.
Yeah.
So without any further ado, let's take it away, Ross Wilcock.
Thank you. So I'm going to do one poem for you because it's a bit of a long one. It's called Love in All Its Colours. Love is everything and nothing, a fleeting feeling, butterflies, a moment in time, a once upon a time, the end game. Love with all its colours is glorious, fabulous. In all its tremors and embers, it is eternal, romanticized, criticized, criminalized. Love is meant to be felt, not given. A fatal hand that serves a life sentence. A friend of Dorothy, maybe somewhere over the rainbow, love is able to soar. Love, like colour, is endless with new ways to feel. Cry for love, laugh for love, resent love. For it is both heaven and hell. It is endless, but also fades before it can have a chance to shine. There is a first love, a true love, platonic love. Maybe in a lifetime it is an aim to love and to be loved, and perhaps some souls are left loveless, holding on to hope that their broken hearts will be healed by lovers never known before, sore from past failed romances. Or maybe those who don't love have the greatest love of all, the love of feeling love. How it takes over the body, how it lingers and simmers in the bones. The floods of tears and fears of being unloved are not always felt by those who take the heart for granted. Love with all its colours is precious and brave, vulnerable and strong. Love with all its colours, love with all your colours. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do.
Is are you not doing any more for us?
No, no, I don't think so.
Okay then.
That's all the.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
I like in your poem. I liked that rhythm that you've created and the repeating, the repetition of the word love, and the idea like that there's the different loves that we have. Like we've got mother love, platonic. Platonic. Where does that come from?
Like platonic, it's like friendship, love. It's
I
yeah.
thought I'd said that wrong there, and I was like, "What? Where does platonic come from?"
Yeah,
I like that as well, like how
yeah.
love lingers in the bones,
Yeah.
and it reminds me like that feeling in your stomach that you can't eat
Yeah,
when you're kind of just in love.
yeah,
And then again, all the colors of love. And I like that about the rainbow, but I was thinking like chasing the rainbow, you never ever come to the end of the rainbow, but you know, it's always there, that love. Yeah. Ross, thank you very much for that.
Thank
So
you.
Ross Wilcock, get yourself along to those open mics. Ross, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So now I'm going to hand you over to my colleague, my friend, my mentor. Linda Jackson is a poet, writer, publisher, and musician, and the amount of stuff she does for other people and bring them to the fore is pretty immense. And I love co-hosting with Linda. So, Linda Jackson.
Thank you very much, Donna. I'm going to give you a row. I said, just introduce me, just say my name and a few other things, but she's always so very generous, which is it's just Donna. Anyway, if you know her, you know that. I have loved listening to these poems, and I know this is a wee time round we're doing this, and I thought your reading there of your love poem, Ross, was just so well timed. I loved the poems, and I want to say thanks very much to both James and Ross for enlightening us. Yeah, authority and it's people, it's the same with both of these subjects, I suppose. Anyway, it's my honour and a humbling experience always. I think the first time I saw our special guest, I mean, it was a one-off knockout. Then I looked him up as a musician, saw his band playing. I watched his antics and heard those vocals. So he's a huge talent. He won the World Slam Championship and the Scottish Championship. He described himself as a singer-songwriter who became a poet so that he could dump his guitar, really. Didn't have to carry a guitar any longer. So that's quite sweet. You're lucky you're not a piano player. I watched piano players with Hammond organs try to get up staircases and Leslie cabinets and all of that. You can see Biff Smith in many places because anybody who's got their hat on, their head on, would be inviting him along to read because he adds something, I would say, quite unique to an evening in terms of his bodily self. There's an expression that just comes off of all of him when he's performing. It's quite incredible. And there's a real depth to his poetry as well. He describes his subjects. Well, he says he's quite a happy guy. He likes a nice red wine and he likes a belly laugh. But he also adds that his topics are depression, failure, existential angst. So it must be a few bottles of the old red wine that goes down there to combat that, dear heart. But anyway, I would love to introduce this man. Please welcome Biff Smith.
Hello. How are you doing, everyone? I have 4 poems for you today. First up, this is called The Secret of the World. Do you know the secret of the world? The secret of the world is hidden somewhere deep and impossible, buried, forgotten likely, silent until, say, perhaps by a cunning combination of prime numbers, an elegant proof, an intricate tango, or in words and music strung together luckily, just so. It may then still be stumbled upon, where the locks give, and the gates swing wide like arms opening, or a face cracking into laughter at last, and a little wild love runs free into the world, even if only for just as long as the length of a song, a sum, an equation, a tango, a poem. Poem 2. This one is inspired by one of my favourite features of the North Clyde to Argyll railway line. It's called the Dalrioch Tunnels. Today it was, down the back of the dark, at the bottom of a corner, in a little pocket of time. Not long, few seconds maybe, as far as the flight of a thought or two, as long as the length of a train speeding through, and somewhere around midway, in the Dalrioch Tunnels, a short dreamy peace to float into where even the children quieted briefly. Some primal awareness, perhaps, of sacred underground, above, below, and all around. Ancient rock. Ancient from where I was sitting anyway, and all that gorgeous darkness where a train carriage becomes a hall of mirrors. And I thought all of a sudden of our holiday, Paris, and the day trip to the Palace of Versailles, my mum in the summer, my sister and I, tourists here, like everyone else, mobbed and surrounded by all that gilt and velvet, the elegant fakes and the shabby authentic, until escaping to the gardens like Marie Antoinette and her need too for a hideaway, something humble enough for an aristocrat, maybe in the woods or by the water. We passed a pond, then further through the trees came across a cafe made out of an old cowshed. Almost closing it was, and we were the only ones there. But the waiter had time for us, made coffee from scratch, even gave us a complimentary biscuit. And after the palace and all that bloody beauty, it was cool and quiet, the calm of whitewash and wooden eaves above, as we sat, we three, with our coffee and our biscuit, each in turn wondered out loud where the cows might once have slept. Maybe even perhaps right here, upon our laps, where we raised our cups to a favourite part of the day. But light comes crashing back, as light will. No Shazam, no abracadabra, but still, nothing is ever the same. It is always and all over again. Another world. Even the river has somehow changed. Clyde into Leven in the blink of an eye, and flowing all away from the Palace of Versailles. Today it was. A moment, more or less. Somewhere around midway, in the Dalrioch Tunnels. Poem 3 is inspired by the strategically placed painting behind me. It's Whistler's Nocturne in black and gold. Its alternative title is The Falling Rocket, which is the title of this poem. It's basically a love poem for a painting. I find that one is less likely to get into trouble if one writes love poems for inanimate objects. So here we go. The Falling Rocket. Rise and fall, nil and all. Both these opposites are true. The paradox is me, is you. Out from under fallen grace, running after time and space. Fizz and crack a flashing back, like a losing argument, to burn until all fire is spent. Down and through the gentle dark, on the far side of the arc. Will the wilderness be calling? Are we into water falling? Sailors doomed to drift or drown, and all our courses blown. Light and colour crashing down to love and not to own. Leaping from the ledges, written in the rust, or waiting at the edges where they're sweeping up the dust. See you up a million, or deep as darkness delves, the glamour of oblivion, and the stars look to themselves. Thank you, everyone. I've one last poem for you today. This one I'll let the daylight in a little, shall I? I do have a tendency, like a supermarket trolley with a dodgy wheel, to veer towards the dark side of life. So I have to keep reminding myself, open the curtains, son, let the daylight in. This is called As Far as Eyes Can. Should you find yourself lost in the woods, I would recommend, if I may, that you climb a tree, high as you can, until your head breaks free, right through the canopy, up where eyes can see, as far as eyes can, out to all that far away, and then all the way back again to all this nearby. Bend with the wind, every deep breath until you're ready to shimmy back down and go again. Thank you.
Well, my heavens, Biff, I just think the imagery that you created, actually, these 4 poems seem to run in a kind of sequence for me, linked up by your vision. Astonishing imagery, rivers, darkness, hopes of light coming out of tunnels and light crashing in. I mean, some of the work there was quite incredible. I loved the expression down the back of the dark. When you see so many little ones like that, take it a bit on, take it a bit further. And I really enjoyed the idea of the tunnel. I think we all know that. If we all train travel is so great, just to give you that moment of subconscious for a minute, and certainly I do it. If you get a long tunnel, wow, you even get them in Spanish motorways, you just disappear for a wee while if you're not driving. And I think you do that beautifully. I think that transference that you made from the Dalriog tunnel to Versailles, just remembering and just deciding to be somewhere else. And I thought I could see Marie Antoinette escaping. I could see her running in the woods. I could see her by the river. It's just beautifully presented. And then at the end, you're someone's lost in the woods. So there's there's certain almost leitmotifs, if I can say, of darkness, the darkness of the unconscious. It's like Virginia Woolf talks about netting that fish in a waste of waters. The unconscious is the pool, and the poet or the writer's job is to try and net a fin in the waste. And it is that darkness. Funny enough, he said at the end, I mean, when I'm singing, every song I write is, cutthroat job. A blues singer or else singer-songwriter of sad songs, and my voice is that tone. That's maybe just who you are sometimes too. But when you try to force the light there, it worked, because the tunnel opens, the light crashes, and the river's changed now. Okay, it's actually changed to the leaving, but it's changed in its outlook because you had an escape to Versailles. Absolutely loved it. And that kind of thing, I think, was throughout the poems. I can't wait to read, to hold a wee pamphlet or a book of your work in my hand and see these wonderful link-ups. Thank you very much. And of course, your expressive self. One of the things you fear then is someone who has a bodily expressive self on a stage. Will it manage to this small space we have? 100% it did. Thank you very much.
No.
Just like to say thank you again to all of you for coming along, and we'll have this video up on our website, SCAP Scotland. I'll have it over Facebook. I'll send it to you first, however, just so I can say, yeah, that's okay. Thank you, Donna, for being there and for introducing everyone. I hope you have a lovely Sunday. and get your work out, go everywhere with it. Thanks very much, folks. Bye.